Hello and welcome to Dental Studies Simplified. I am Dr. Ankita Kotecha, and in today's video we are going to discuss how to attempt a theory paper for MDS periodontics. Okay, so in this video we will discuss how to attempt your theory exams and how should be the presentation, what should be the manner of your presentation of the answer. Okay, so the first thing here I would like to highlight is the outline. Irrelevant of the marks for the answer, the one thing that is consistent or common to all the answers is the outline. In other words, it's the framework or the index. This is similar to what we put up in our seminar slides or the journal club slide. We keep an index. Okay, we don't start our seminar directly with the discussion on the topic directly. Clear? We put an index and we tell this topic will be dealt under so and so subheadings or subtopics. So this is what we or the examiner expects in your answer. Okay, irrespective of the marks. Okay, the marks that I have come across is you all have mainly 50 marks or 75 marks essay writing in the final paper, paper 3 or paper 4, depending on the university. Then you have long essays, 20 or 25 marks, and then you have short essays, 5 or 7 marks. Okay, so no matter which answer are you attempting, we or the examiner expect the outline, the framework of the answer. This you can get easily from any standard textbook. You read Carranza, you read Linde, you will get a framework, an outline at the beginning of every chapter that tells you what all subtopics or what all matter is discussed in that particular chapter. So the same thing, the examiner wants to know what all you have discussed in your answer, and that is why an outline should be always present in your answer, be it of any weightage, any marks. Okay, outline is a must. Okay, compulsion. This I would like to highlight. This is a compulsion. Rest all the things which we will discuss can be optional, or it depends on your college authority administration, but outline is a compulsion, I suggest. Okay, and then once the outline is clear, even you get an idea of how to write and what all to write about this question, because you have made a framework. So then you will go back to your index. You will write, okay, introduction, you will start about the introduction, then next is historical background, you will write about historical background, then you will write about the next topic, so and so, and then you will end your index with summary and conclusion, and the last one, which is the most important part, okay, which carries a lot of marks. If not all the marks, it carries a lot of marks. The last part in your index should be references. Your references gives you added advantage. It denotes your knowledge and how much literature you have gone through, be it your PubMed journals, be it the specialty journals or the latest journals. Clear? So your references are a very important part of your answer. Obviously the answer is very important, but the references will add luster to your answer. Clear? So this index with references. Now there are two options. You can mention the references at the beginning of the answer, not an issue. And if no, you may add your references at the end of your answer also. Like you have completed your answer, introduction, history, current concepts, other subtopics, summary, conclusion, and then the list of references at the end of your answer should also work well. There are two ways to present your answers. One presentation way is at the beginning of your answer, because it depends on the examiner. Some examiners who are keen upon or are looking forward to the references, it's a good idea to put the references at first. Okay, so that they will be satisfied before even reading your answer. Okay, they will be satisfied by seeing your references, and if not, you may put it at the end of your answers, but ultimately references are a must, and that too from standard journals, preferably PubMed, preferably specialty journals, Perio 2000, JOP, JCP, JPR, and our Indian Society Journal, and all the landmark studies and the latest studies. Okay, everything. Sorry. So this is the number 1 point while attempting a theory paper. Outline is a must. And then while following the outline, when you elaborate every subtopic of your outline, elaborate them point wise. Nobody enjoys reading paragraphs. Do you? You have the standard textbooks in front of you. You have Carranza, you have Linde. But do you enjoy reading those lengthy paragraphs? What we do, we read them and we highlight the main points, and when we have exams next day, what we do, we read those highlighted points. Means we are also interested in reading point wise. So is with the examiners. Nobody enjoys reading those lengthy paragraphs, especially when they have a lot of things to read. Imagine your 50 page sheet. Clear? So imagine if somebody has to read 50 pages in one go. Okay, if it is a 1 page a day, we will nicely enjoy reading those data. But if you have to read 50 page data in one sitting, in one go, so nobody will enjoy paragraphs. They all wants to know point wise. Besides, it's not about paragraph, it's not the debate of paragraph versus point wise. The thing is, it's an exam answer and not a textbook. Okay, the examiner should not get the feeling of reading a textbook. See, examiner is here to judge your presentation skills, is here to judge your knowledge, how much you know, and more than how much you know, how are you able to put your knowledge on that limited sheets. Okay, so that is why we have sheets limitation. There was this one question, why are the supplementaries prohibited now? Because of this reason. Because otherwise, people who attempt these theory exams on that page bharo abhiyan basis, for those people only, because of those people only, these supplementaries are now prohibited or are excluded from our exams pattern. Clear? Because coming to that point, it's not about page bharo, it's about the quality. So talking about this point here, write it point wise. It's always about quality over quantity. So that popular myth, इतना पेज भरोगे तो इतने मार्क्स मिलेगा, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. पेज भरोगे तो मार्क्स मिलेगा, बट अच्छे से भरोगे तो अच्छा मार्क्स मिलेगा. ओके, सो बी कॉम्पिटिटिव. आई एम नॉट टेलिंग यू just go behind it in a crazy manner, but yes, when you have to attempt it, give your best shot. No, don't go crazy about it. Don't get disappointed or disheartened if you don't if it doesn't fetch you that marks that were your expectations. It's okay. These marks doesn't define our future or our practice skills. It doesn't make a difference with your practice skills or your academic skills also. It's just a one-time exposure which maybe didn't work for you. If you didn't get marks, if you get marks, well and good. Okay, so it's always about quality. Paper अच्छे से भरो. अगर है, if you have the skill of filling all the 50 pages, भरो, no problem. There is nothing wrong in it. But fill it with some quality content. Okay, boring 4-hour lengthy movie versus an interesting 1.5-hour movie. Tell me your choice. What will you watch? Okay, so it's not about length, it's about quality. So always keep in mind quality over quantity. Coming back to this point, point wise. Okay, firstly your answer should be point wise because the examiner wants to know what all you know. That's it. Okay, the examiner is not looking for the replica of Carranza or Linde or say Cohen or Sato for that matter. Okay, they are not looking for textbook replicas. They are looking for how you have segregated the points. Clear, what are the clear points in your mind, and bring it to him. Show him that you know these points. Okay, so now coming to that part, how to show is the highlighting. Okay, again cross check with your authority what all is allowed, what all is not allowed. Okay, because there are many strict rules just to avoid any cheating or so. Clear? So the safest thing you can do is write it in capitals, not the entire statement, not all the sentences. Any particular thing, let's say any author name or any date, any journal name or any mechanism or concept or any material name, something you want to highlight, any technique name, clear? So all that you can write in capitals so that it catches the examiner's eye that I have written so and so point, please read it. Okay, it just denotes that. So you can highlight by using capitals, the safest manner. The other methods are underlining or box. But please check with your authority if that's allowed or not. If it is within your university permissions, then you may go for it as well. So this is about the answer presentation. Quality over quantity, please keep in mind. There are few topics where you can write a lot, but again, the examiners are not looking for the quantity. They are wanting to know how are you able to concise your answer for a particular weightage. Okay. So if the question is for 5 marks and you keep on writing and writing, that is not appropriate. Okay. It first of all does not serve the purpose. The purpose of asking a 5 marks question is how can you present that lengthy topic in a short and sweet to the point manner. Okay, so the purpose of 5 or 7 marks question, the short essays, is to find out your skills of concising a lengthy topic. And then again, if the same topic is asked for a only essay, 50 or 75 marks, we want to know how much knowledge you have about that topic. So how you can elaborate it. There you elaborate it, there are no limits, the limit is the paper there. Okay, so that's about the quality of the answer. Then we have a few more presentation methods. My personal favorite, flowcharts. Less words, less paper and more data conveyed. Clear? So you can write it in a flowchart manner, especially if it is some mechanism. Begin with this, then this happens, then this happens, and then finally this happens. Okay. So instead of writing sentences, one sentence for so and so, the flowchart, less words, less page, less time consumed, and the entire answer conveyed beautifully. The next method is tables. Wherever applicable, I am not telling you all the answers should have tables. Wherever possible, put tables. For example, Planck hypothesis. Anything with a sequence or chronology, table should be preferred. For example, Planck hypothesis. I have an entirely separate playlist on Planck hypothesis in which I have discussed each Planck hypothesis in a separate video. But the playlist begins with Planck hypothesis introduction. Planck hypothesis in a nutshell. In that video, please watch my presentation. There are let's say 5 hypotheses. Write the name, non-specific, specific, updated. Then you have ecologic, and then you have keystone pathogen given by so and so, in the year so and then the concept is so and so. Only the words, like non-specific on the quantity of the flora, specific on the quality of the flora, then updated, it is against the non-specific thing. Ecologic, it focuses on the environment, and keystone pathogen focuses on particular keystone pathogens such as P. generis. That's it. If this is the table, no need to write those lengthy answers about each and every hypothesis. So this is how you can maintain the table also. Tables can also be prepared for the bone graft materials, the various bone grafts. You can write autograft, allograft, xenograft, alloplast, and then you can add fifth also for the newer materials, and then you can write their mechanism, osteoconduction, osteoinduction, both, and then their pros, their cons, and their applicability. Okay, so this is how you can present your answer in less words, less page, less time. More data, accurate data is conveyed. And the another manner, flowcharts, tables, and the last and very favorite again, schematic diagrams. Okay, schematic diagrams can be included wherever applicable. Let's say the diagram is like this. You have to label the diagram. ऐसा नहीं है diagram लगा के छोड़ के आगे. You have to label the diagram importantly. Now there are two manners of labeling the diagram, but I will tell you which one you should follow. There is one method. Let's say you draw this schematic diagram, and the one method is you will mark them as this is number 1, 2, 3, and then you will write here 1 denotes so and so, 2 denotes so and so, 3. You see those standard journal articles, their legends are like this. Clear? They will write some abbreviations here, some keywords or some alphabets, and then in the legend, in the titles, captions, they will mention, oh, this stands for this stands for this. This is one kind of labeling, and my opinion is you should label it with an arrow, and that arrow should be facing onto the point which you want to discuss. This means so and so, this layer is so and so, this layer is so and so. This is how your labeling should be there. This is also acceptable, but this is I feel, in personal opinion, this is a little lengthy thing to go through. Okay, first I should see, oh, 1 means oh so and so, 2 means so and so, and this is okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, correct. So it's easy for me to, or the examiner to, check your answer in a quick manner. Okay, so this is these are the various methods of presentation that you should include in your answer wherever applicable. Now don't try to write your entire answer in form of flowcharts and tables. Okay, it's not like that. The main thing is you should write your answer point wise. Wherever applicable, please draw flowcharts to avoid those lengthy answers, to avoid those to avoid those lengthy things, and concise them into the flowcharts or the tables, and the best is diagrams. The picture speaks more than words. Clear? So this is all about the theory paper attempt. Coming to, this is the main content. Coming to the few things here and there. Okay, there are few more points. Number 5 is maintain the chronology. I know it's tough to maintain the chronology, but yes, it is preferable. It is a good idea to maintain chronology. See, I will give you 3 options here. First is maintain chronology, definitely. Okay, so this is applicable to people who can attempt all the answers accurately and with the same pace, same confidence. Clear? So when it comes to maintaining the chronology or sequence, what to do in the case of time management, take 5 to 10 minutes. When you get the paper, don't panic. We don't expect you at this age and at this stage to panic. Clear? So don't panic first of all, and go through all the questions. Just read all the questions and make up your mind what all are you going to include in this particular answer, and how well are you going to justify those answers. Make 2 categories: the best of your performances, the questions which you are going to attempt in a wonderful manner, you are confident of, and the rest which you can give your average shot. Okay, not so best shot. If not average, not your best ones. Clear? You can segregate that and then start attempting your best ones first. So in that case, this chronology will be broken. It will be, you have to skip the chronology then. What you can do here, why I said 3 options. See, ideally there are 2 options, either maintain, don't maintain. But I told 3 options. Why? Because the second option is, if your estimation power, your judgment is good enough, then what you can do is, you want to maintain the chronology, but you are not confident of all the questions in the paper. What you can do is attempt, let's say question number 1 which you are confident of, and then let's say you are not so confident of question number 2, you can make an assessment, how many pages will you write for that paper, leave those many pages and then keep a gap and then start the next question. Like that you can just leave pages. Another thing you can do is keep a ruler, scale. Clear? You can keep a scale, these many pages for number 1 question. After that I have to start number 2, because time management is important. paper management is also important. There are no supplementaries available. I hope you know that. Clear? So you have to finish it in the given answer sheet. So this is another good idea to keep a measurement scale at the end of certain pages, so that you get a reminder that I have to finish this answer within this pages only. Okay, because if you give more pages to particular answer, you will have to cut short your remaining answers. Okay, so here in this paper we have to justify all the answers equally. Okay, so you can do that. And then after attempting the first question, if you think you are not so good about or not confident about second answer, just make an estimate how many pages will you require for that answer, leave those many pages, and then start the next question. Like that you can do the paper allotment also. Obviously it will not work with all the students, but this is for those who can utilize this trick. Okay, so that is why these are the two options. First is the ideally maintain the chronology, write all the answers in the sequence. This is for those who knows all the answers and who are confident of all the answers. Second option is for those who are not confident of all the answers but wants to maintain the chronology. So there you can do this method. Either you can estimate the number of pages, leave that gap of those number of pages and go for the next question. And the third option is people who are not confident of all the answers and who don't have this estimation or the judgment skills and cannot maintain chronology. Well, you can skip the chronology, you can skip the sequence, but that will not fetch, that will not affect your marks directly, but indirectly it will disturb the mental status, the mental peace of the examiner. While the examiner is going through your paper with a set of questions in the mind, question 1 is so and so, 2 is so and so, and 3 is so and so, and suddenly if he thinks, oh, this answer does not fit this question, what is going on? And then he have to go back all the way to your finding out your question number or the answer number, and then he finds, oh, this is not question number 3, this is question number 4. So it somewhat breaks the thing, his attention, his mental status. Clear? So it is a sort of disturbance to the examiner. So we want to avoid that disturbance. That we don't want to give disturbance to our examiner. Clear? So for that reason, you have to maintain the chronology or the sequence. Up to you, maintain it or don't maintain it. It is totally optional. A personal suggestion is to maintain it for the given reason. Clear? And the next point is start every new answer from new page. So let's say in this answer sheet, if your answer completes here, draw one horizontal line and then one diagonal line to denote that your answer is completed here. And then let's see, it is question number 6. Start your answer, new answer from a new page. Every answer should begin from a new page if possible. Again, optional. I told you compulsory thing is the outline, and all these things are just to help you in presenting your answer. So till 4 also you can consider it compulsory or semi-compulsory, but 5, 6 and 7 are going to be totally optional. Clear? It is just my personal opinion and my suggestion, what I did in my exams. Clear? So if your answer ends somewhere here, draw one horizontal line to denote the end, and then a diagonal line to show that the answer has ended here and the new answer will begin from new page. Clear? If possible. And then the last point should be question number or the answer number. Write your answer number clear and in a readable manner, a little dark, because given the condition that it is going to be scanned, we want everything to be readable. Okay, so write your answer number in that margin in a clear and bold manner. I am not telling you write it in a big font. I am not talking about the font. In a clear and bold manner, so that it catches the eye of the examiner, so that even if you have not maintained the chronology, the examiner will number will catch the eye of the examiner, and the examiner will in the first hand come to know, okay, this is the so and so question number, So he will he will correct your answer as per that question. Okay. So these are the points to be kept in mind while attempting theory paper. Okay. And the final question is the prototype, how to attempt the same question if asked for 50 marks or 75 marks, 20 to 25 marks, 5 to 7 marks. I'll give you one simple, just one example. See, this is applicable to all the topics in Perio. I'll give you just one example. Please try to understand from that. If the question is host modulation therapy, for example, and if it is the long only essay, 50 marks or 75 marks, write everything you know about host modulation agent. Clear? So entire outline of Carranza and Linde, beginning from Golub et al. Sir, and all the historical perspective, all the landmark studies, and coming to the model of pathogenesis on the basis of which host modulation came into the picture, and then transitioning to the latest models, the latest agents. So you begin from history and write about the Page et al.'s model, write about all the agents, point out in that model first of all, elaborate those older agents, the anti-inflammatory and bisphosphonates. Coming to the latest model, Chappell et al. From the Perio 2000, which is now in the 13th edition Carranza. Talk about that model and show which all the newer post modulation agents which are applicable are in the budding stage or the initial studies going on. Give the latest literature. This is how a 50 or 75 marks question answer can be attempted. If this question, post modulation, is given for 20-25 marks, I repeat, the outline will be the same. It's just that how much you will elaborate the subtopics will vary. For example, the agents, see, the model cannot be concised, the concept cannot be concised. Okay, what you can concise is the details of those agents. Okay, while writing for 50 or 75 marks question, we will elaborate all the various multiple studies on anti-inflammatory, multiple studies on bisphosphonates, and the latest such as probiotics or the Ayurvedics, herbals. In the 20 marks, restrict yourself to 1 or 2 studies, important studies, okay, relevant, important studies. Again, from PubMed journals, from specialty journals, and our Indian Society journal. Try to quote, see, this is my personal suggestion, I am not against foreign authors. Try to quote Indian authors as much as possible. Clear? Because we are going to practice in India, most of us. Clear? The examiner is an Indian. So he is also well versed with Indian authors. Clear? Because he or she is in touch with those Indian authors, or maybe he or she is a part of that Indian research. So try to quote Indian authors. You have to quote foreign authors wherever applicable, the landmark studies or any topic. You have to quote foreign authors wherever applicable. But wherever possible, try to quote Indian authors as well. This is one very wrong notion amongst the students. Quoting foreign authors fetches you more marks. ऐसा नहीं है. Nothing like that. The quoting the author doesn't make a difference. Quoting is what they want. So be it foreign author, be it Indian author, you will get marks. The marks is for the type of journal that is taken from. PubMed journal, specialty journal, our society journal. Okay, so be it foreign author, be it Indian author, you quote all the authors that you have with in your references. Okay. So coming back to the topic, host modulation for 20 marks. Quote 1 or 2 studies here and there. Elaborative for 50-75 marks, but for 20 marks, 1 or 2 should work, because we have to elaborate all the agents. Clear? And then if the same question is for 5 to 7 marks, I doubt it will be asked, but even if it is asked, then skip the elaboration, just stick to the concepts, main concepts, and just enumerate those agents. Or best idea is to use the tables. So and so agents, so and so mechanism, and so studies example. Instead of writing so and so et al. In the year so and so conducted so and so studies and found out and concluded that this agent is applicable or beneficial to be used as an adjunctive host modulating agent as a part of standard periodontal therapy. This is all to be written in 20 and 50 marks answer. When it comes to 5 to 7 marks, so and so et al, so and so here, conclusion, beneficial plus minus, that is not significant, or minus, no differences. You can make tables like that. Clear? So when it comes to weightage, as per the weightage, concise your answer. Clear? I hope the content is now clear to all of you. This is the final summary of how to attempt your theory paper. Outline is a must for all the answers irrelevant of the weightage. Point wise, no paragraphs please. And highlight your important data such as names, dates, places, materials, techniques in capitals or underlinings and box them depending on your permissions from your authority. Quality is the prime concern, not the quantity. We are not working on page bharo abhiyan. We are eco-friendly at the same time. So page bachao. Clear? So focus on the quality. They want to know your knowledge and not your writing skills. They are looking for your knowledge and your practice skills and rather than your writing skills. Okay. We don't want any clerical persons passing out. Clear? And then under your presentation, flowcharts, tables, schematic diagrams with the labeling. Maintain chronology wherever possible. Answer every new question from the new page, and finally question number should be clear. Okay, it should be readable and very clear. I hope this topic, this video is helpful to you in attempting your theory paper. But if you think I missed out on any topic or any point, do let me know in the comment section below or my email ID dentalstudiessimplified@gmail.com. Alternatively, you can reach me out on FB Messenger and Instagram DM and I will help you out. I hope you understood the entire content thoroughly and this will help you in attempting your theory paper. Thank you for watching and listening to me. All the very best for your exams. Study well, stay safe and take care.